If you've got a flat panel door to paint like the one behind me and you want it to not look like crap, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to do it with a brush, a 4-inch roller, and a 9-inch roller. Ready to go? Yo, what's cracking, folks? Jeremy Vassar here with Practical Painting. We are professional painters here to help you with your various painting endeavors, and today we're going to take a look at how to paint a flat panel door. We've been doing a bunch of them on this job site, so I thought it would be a good one to show you guys. And I've got the flat panel door right behind me, and I'm going to show you how to paint this in 3 easy steps. But let's first go take a look at the supplies you will need. For prep, you're going to need a screwdriver, some frog tape, some wood filler, some sandpaper. I prefer 150 grit. We've got some paper towels as well. And then for the actual application of the paint, we've got the paint itself, which is Duration Semi-Gloss in this case. We've got a 2.5-inch Corona Cortez brush, an edging container, and that is a jumbo tray liner in a jumbo tray with the rollers already prepped, and the roller covers that are on those two roller frames are a 4-inch and a 9-inch, both 1/4-inch nap. So now we're going to prep. So first we're just going to take off the door handle here. These are pretty easy to take off. And this one just has 2 screws. I'm going to leave the catch in, but we're just going to take off the 2 handles because we are going to be rolling this frame. Just make sure when you take this off that you keep your hardware all together. A lot of times we slide the screws back into the handle just so we've got it all together and know which door it goes to. Because we've done quite a few doors on this job site, and we just want to make sure we don't get anything mixed up. And the next thing I'm going to do is just, I'm going to sand. There's a few little rough spots here. Just want to get the surface as smooth as you can before you start putting on your top coats. There just looks like some kind of schmutz on here. We're going to do the door frame later, so, but anyway. All right, it's looking pretty good. Normally I don't tape out the hinges, but I'll show you guys what it looks like to tape it out if you're not comfortable painting around them. All right, so the easiest way to do this is just run it right along that line there and have extra up here. I'm going to take my knife out. I'm just going to cut that extra off. Now that hinge is taped out, so if you're not comfortable coming around this, which you'll see me do in a second, you can always do that, and it'll make it a little bit easy for you. All right, now the door is prepped. We're going to start step 2, which is actually applying our first coat. We're going to cut in what we can't roll first. So I'm going to start with the heel of the door here. If you want to remember which is the heel and which is the toe, the heel has the hinges on it. So that's how I always remember what it is. So here you can see where we've got I can get the paint right on that tape, and that's okay. That's what it's there for. Doing this left-handed. All right. Where it gets a little more tricky is when we get close to this hinge. You can see whoever painted this before got a little paint there as well. That was not us. And if you do get paint on there, you can always wipe it off. That's why we have rags. Yeah. Or your finger. So when you cut in these doors, you're basically just trying to do, just like you do on most cut-ins, you're trying to brush what you can't get with a roller. And I like doing, since we're going to be painting both sides of this door, we're going to paint the heel and the toe. In general, when you're painting, you're going to work from the top down. I generally work from the top down, left to right. If you're a lefty, a lot of times they like working in the opposite direction, still top down, but usually from right to left. If you're trying to make your job a little bit easier painting this side of things, you could remove that other part of the door handle assembly. So we paint around them all the time, so I don't really care. That's why I left it in there. All right, so that's heel and toe done. Now we're gonna come and do the inside of the panel because I can't get the roller in there. And it's okay if you run the paint onto the parts you're going to be rolling, because I'm going to hit this while it's still wet, so I'll be able to smooth that out and kind of incorporate that paint into my rolling. All right, and then up here, a lot of times I like to cut in this little piece because sometimes you can't get the top corner from the way the door is. We should be able to get pretty close the way this door is swinging out though. All right, straighten this out. You just want to watch for runs too and make sure things are looking nice and smooth. We're going to end up doing 2 coats, but just want to make sure you're putting it on nice. Also, a good idea before you start edging and like cutting in this door, you want to make sure your roller setup's already set up so that as soon as you get your first coat on, you can get right into rolling. So we already have that set up, so I'll be grabbing that in a second. And now we're just going to cut in the bottom. So a lot of times it's hard to get the roller that close. One thing we probably didn't mention in the supply list is that you are more than likely going to want to use drop cloths. Unless you don't care about your floor. So, all right, that's all cut in, and I'm just going to police a few little drips where it's a little heavy, and then we'll get rolling. Now we've got a 9-inch roller. This is a 1/4-inch nap, so it's a super tight nap, which is going to give you a really smooth finish on this door. And I like to use the 9-inch to do the big panels. If you have a smaller paneled door, you can get away with using the smaller roller that we're going to do, but when they're these larger panels, this is much easier. So this roller's fairly loaded up with paint, so I'm just going to kind of leave it thick up here and then work it down on the bottom as well, and then I'll come smooth that out once I get a little bit more of that paint off the roller here. And once these rollers are soaked in, the paint does go a long way. And what you're looking to do is you want a nice uniform finish when you're rolling these. So I've found with this 9-inch, if you press it a little bit harder, once you have the surfaces covered, you can kind of get that the texture to look nice and smooth. Just with, for whatever reason, I've found with this one, if you push a little bit harder and go up, it seems to do pretty nicely. And just make sure you don't have any thick spots, and that's going to level out and dry pretty nice. So now we're going to switch over to the 4-inch, which is this little jammy right here, loaded up with some paint. And again, I'm going to work from the top down. See, we got almost complete. We got pretty much that whole corner covered, so didn't necessarily have to cut that in, but we'll know for coat number 2. Come over here. This paint's also going to spread a decent amount. Semi-gloss tends to go a long way when you're rolling it. And the door's already painted semi-gloss previously, so as most doors are, so generally it won't soak up too badly unless you have a brand new door. Dip a little bit more. I'm gonna get the big areas done here. All right, so that's coat number one. One thing I like to do too is when once I'm done the first coat, just take a looky-loo and see if there's any heavy spots, any drips or anything I need to address, and just things that I might need to correct on coat number two. So we're just gonna let this sit for, air's moving pretty good in here, so maybe like about an hour, and then we'll recoat. All right, so the door is dry now, so this is just one coat, and now I'm gonna take a little looky-loo with my sandpaper and see if I need to do any prep. Any like thick spots or just rough spots in the door. I noticed some when I was doing the first coat along this edge here. Like right here, you got some schmutz. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So now that I don't see anything too bad with this, we're just going to start coat number two. And same exact pattern we did before. I'm going to do the heel, then everything else that I can't roll, and we'll get cracking. The door's been second coated, and now this is dry, so now we're just ready to clean up. And the first thing we're going to do is pull our tape off our hinge here. And we only taped this top one just to show you guys what that looks like. Tape pulled pretty clean, a little bit of paint there, but nothing too crazy. So if you had taped out the other hinges, now's the time when you would remove that. And then now I'm just going to reassemble the doorknob. And as I'm doing this and putting things back, I can take a look at the door and see how everything looks. This looks pretty solid. I don't see any issues with the way the product's been laid down. No missed spots. And in general, once you're done with these doors, try not to shut them too quickly after you've painted them. Just give them a chance to cure so you don't risk kind of ruining the paint. So, all right, it works. So that is the door. Alrighty, this door is good to go. It's got two coats on, hardware's back on, everything is dry and looking snazzy. So job done on this guy. If you guys are curious about how to paint a door frame, we're going to be filming me paint this door frame here in a little bit. I will link to that video up here. Until then, thank you guys very much for watching. If you found this video useful in any way, shape, or form, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And until next time, y'all take it easy, work smart, and have a good one. Bye.
Amazing.